Now, I'm glad you're here because, I mean, we need to talk about this. But also, the Forestry Commission put out what they called a rejoinder. Raymond, what's the thrust of it?
So they basically thanked journalists for the hotline documentary and moved on to say that they are putting in place certain measures, specifically training of officers, buying them guns, the seizure and decommission of equipment used for illegal mining in forest reserves, the arrest and prosecution of illegal miners, the intensification of surveillance, intelligence gathering, and the training of forestry officers and others, including also stakeholder engagement and education. They've also done some reclamation. They believe that as a public regulator charged with the protection and sustainable management of Ghana's forest and wildlife resources, they are deeply concerned about incidents of illegal mining in the forest reserves. The fight against illegal mining has been, they say, arduous and multifaceted, but they continue to adopt measures aimed at coming to grips with the menace. It has serious socio-economic linkages and therefore needs to be tackled holistically. This is what they are also saying. They also believe that such onslaught on the environment is an existential threat, which is what we have been talking about all through. But they claim they are doing some work and they listed some of the things they are doing to try and deal with the problem. They are not dismissing it. It is an inherent admission that all that we put out there was factual, but they're saying that they are doing their very best, constrained with resources and other things, to still do the things they have to do.
All right, Dr. Ken Asig, I think for most people listening, the question is this. What Forestry Commission is saying in this statement, is that reflective of the president's assertion that the ban on illegal mining is yielding positive results for climate change?
Well, I'm not too sure what the president, because he mentioned the ban of illegal mining, and I'm not a lawyer, but I'm wondering how we ban illegal mining. I know that the mining that we were doing was banned in the colonial days when they declared what we do as illegal. But, how do you ban an illegality? Because the thing is already illegal. I know we also banned, there was a moratorium placed on small-scale mining that was lifted in 2019. So that's when that happened. Then in terms of the 20,000 Ghanaians planting 13 million trees, well, I'm pretty sure that would have happened. And the outcome is 13 million trees planted. How many of those trees are still in, we need to ask the Forestry Commission to give us evidence of where those trees have been planted and how they're doing. But how many more trees have also very matured trees that are contributing to our carbon, taking our carbon out of, have we destroyed out of, this illegality that we're talking about, including things that have been done by Akonta Mining going to the Tunnel Nimri Forest Reserve, including Heritage Imperial being given prospecting license and going with 18 or so excavators into the forest and, and cutting down trees. And a lot of that happening, so I am not too sure. And when we start talking about it again, so the contradiction, you also see the contradiction in what the Forestry Commission themselves have come up with, where they come again. You see, our focus is all on things that we claim to be doing, but what is the outcome of that? What is the impact of all of that? The impact of all of that is the fact that as we speak, and the documentary showed it clearly. And the Forestry Commission themselves talked about an existential threat. One of the outcomes is the fact that Ghana Water Company is now asking you and I to pay more for because of galamsey, because the chemicals that they're using to treat our water is no more effective. They have to use polymers and all of that. So what is the outcome of our policy initiatives if now we have to pay you as citizens who most of us did not contribute to this are having to pay extra for it? I can tell you there's a video that the coalition we have that was taken about 3 weeks ago around Abompe in the Punua about 3 weeks ago, and there's galamsey still happening. Chamfans are still sitting on our water bodies. If you go on the Ofen, you go on the Ankobra, they are dying because of the activities of chamfans. So I think that when you read what the Forestry Commission said, who is one of the entities, the regulators of forestry, and are supposed to be contributing to our carbon footprint, themselves have said, it definitely shows that some things are being done, but the impact itself is not positive. And for the coalition, I think the time has come for us to ask all Ghanaians to provide evidence where they are, especially those living in our forest areas, those who are living by our water bodies, to provide evidence so that we can show it to all of us that we are actually where we are now, where the World Bank is telling us that if we continue the rate at which we are going, our natural resource management is going to be unsustainable because that's where we currently are. So it is important that we take note of the fact that we are on a deep slope. And so we are nowhere near going to say that, the efforts that we are putting in are actually yielding the results that we want.
Right. Thanks for that. I want to bring in Martin Kpebu, who joins us over the phone as well. Good morning to you, Martin. Now, you're a lawyer, so I'm interested in this. In this statement from the Forestry Commission, they say, and I quote, when they were listing the things they have achieved, number 3 was the seizure and decommissioning of equipment used for illegal mining in forest reserves. Since January this year, 3 excavators have been seized and over 70 excavators, unspecified number of generators, water pumping machines and other mining equipment and temporary wooden structures have been burnt within forest reserves, mainly in the Bekwai, Bibiani, Enchi, Dwaboso and Takwa forest districts by Forest Services Division with support of the RRTs. I'm asking this. If they keep burning the evidence, how will they ever successfully prosecute the big names behind illegal mining?
Good. Kojo, that's a $1 million question. That's a $1 million question. Why would you burn it, even contrary to law? The 995 says that this be seized, and when the person is being convicted, they would take the equipment and give the district assemblies. So the letter itself is a mockery, especially if you put it in the context that last year, this the Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission went ahead to give permits for mining when nobody had asked him for same. You remember, last year we had a discussion, I remember I even came in the studio.
Yes.
There was a letter he opted. He has simply been asked if there had any objection to mining. I think it relates to the Akunta mining one. And he said, they should go ahead and mine. So for me, a chief executive who even goes ahead is running ahead of himself, encouraging companies to mine when they've simply been asked, when he's simply been asked about prospecting license. I cannot trust him. I can't. And the documentary shows people mining. The documentary shows pictorial evidence, for lack of a better word. You see? So how can we trust such a chief executive? How can we trust such a chief executive? No, he's just lost our trust. He's lost our trust. Mr. Alote, if he's still the one at post, he's lost our trust. So, Kojo, to be very clear and to repeat, the law says don't burn. Take these, go to court, due process. If the person is convicted, then the court confiscates the equipment. Then they give the district assembly. See all the unmotorable roads we have in Ghana. Many, many, many uncountable unmotorable roads. So why would we be burning excavators? Why? Why? So it doesn't add up. It looks like it's a ruse. And Kojo, you see the Brigadier General. I don't know if I've left your question.
Yes. No, go ahead. Yeah.
You see them in the documentary. And we said we're taking people to Niger. Was the president serious at all? You want to go to Niger? We are sending our soldiers to Niger to go and take out a military junta when you can't protect even your common forest. Are we serious?
Speaking of the president, and by the way, if you just joined us, we're talking to Martin Kpebu and Dr. Ken Asig. First of all, about Forestry Commission's rejoinder to the Hotline documentary Forests Under Siege, but also to the comments from the president yesterday in Kenya. And I'd like to hear you on those comments. Martin, the president is talking about climate change. He lists a number of things. Galamsey is just one of them. He says that these things are starting to yield positive results in our, battle to combat climate change. Let's stick to Galamsey. How do you assess it? I mean, looking at the current state of our forests and water bodies, you think it's yielding positive results, as the president said?
No, not one that I've seen. And I listen to radio a lot. Every morning I'm glued to you guys, you, Kojo, Mamavi, Raymond, Winston. And I read a lot because, of course, I'm a pundit as well. So I haven't seen any verifiable improvement. I haven't. There was one, that was several months ago when, was it almost over a year ago, when the soldiers were involved, the police, then we got a certain improvement, right? Very temporary. Then the Galamsey business boomed again, and it went down. And the Ghana Water, so one of the indicia will be Ghana Water. The last time I heard Ghana Water, they were complaining that the cost of processing the water is gone up. That's an indicator, and they were very clear that because of Galamsey activities. So Ghana Water and our Forestry Commission, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. We have seen illegal mining going on right under the nose of the Forestry Commission. So based on this, I cannot agree with the president that Galamsey is gone down. And don't forget, the president has a very strong, albeit negative, track record of clearing people in wrongdoing. So when the president says Galamsey has been kept or is being kept, there's no way I'll trust him. You remember he came out and said at the time that he was speaking, giving a speech in Kpebu, Chairman Woodmills was no longer doing illegal mining. And also in the context that, and his good engineer Ken Asig is online, we reported this Chairman Woodmills Akonta mining matter to the CID. Until date, we did a few follow-ups, and they've been pushing footing. So, and then when the president referred the Frimpong Boateng report to the CID, we haven't seen any traction. So in the midst of all this, I don't know how the president can reasonably conclude that the fight against Galamsey has chalked success. He probably is talking about a different country. Maybe Umofia. Yes, but not Ghana, because I don't know where he's getting that information from.
Goodness, Martin, thank you. I want to wrap with you, Dr. Ken Asig. Let's wrap up on this. Okay, the last paragraph of the Forestry Commission statement. I'm reading the final, last but one sentence. It says, "We are also looking to secure support to augment key logistical requirements, especially operational vehicles, drones, etc., to improve our operational and law enforcement capabilities and to enable the FC respond appropriately to this existential threat." This sounds to me like a cry for help, an appeal for funds. Forestry Commission, calling for donations to help them get equipment. How do you react to that? We have just 1 minute to go, so if you can give us a quick reaction to that. Do we still have Dr. Ken Asig on the line?
Yes, I am here.
Should I repeat the question?
No, I heard you. So, well, you see, the interesting thing is that we're supposed to have drones already, that have been procured. We also were supposed to have been tagging our these excavators and all of that. But with all of these things done, what is the impact? What is the output? Very recently we saw the Minister for Roads having to get the police to arrest some excavators. So in terms of the policy, and you see, we have a lot of the policy initiatives. But in terms of their effectiveness, in terms of our ability to actually police the things that we ought to do. So for me, the Forestry Commission, they are one of the institutions that I really do not place a lot of, because, you see, again, look at this LI that they are trying to do. And I'm sure that LI will be coming from the Forestry Commission themselves. You have a situation where you are not even able to police what you have now, and now you are going to say that globally, areas that are global significance, you are even going to now come up with an LI to see how you can mine in those particular places. And as Martin said, this Forestry Commission themselves, they themselves issue people permits. They give people entry permits. But now when it comes to policing what the people do in the community, they are almost like taking their hands off. So they've told us of a few things that they're doing, but the impact on our forest, the fact that now we're losing our forest cover, our water bodies are going, they need to be doing a lot more with the things that they have, with the laws that they have, enforcing them more severely than they're doing. And I think that the time has come for all of us Ghanaians and all of us, the media, to take the evidence of actually what is happening on the ground and then present it to government. I'm sure in the coming days, the Media Coalition Against Galamsey will be holding a press conference to be able to articulate this thing so that we can point it out to our duty bearers that we need to go the way of Otufo, and start taking people out either for their complicity or their incompetence.
Thank you so much, Ken Ashigbey. And of course, you heard earlier from Martin